Juuse freaking Saros. This is the Locked On Predators podcast.
Your Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day every single day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast that's available to you wherever you get your podcasts and, of course, on YouTube. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer and editor at ontheforecheck.com, and I have a partner in crime.
You do. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer and editor at InsideThePreds.com.
So let's not get things twisted here. Nashville Predators beat the Carolina Hurricanes last night, 5-3. That's not exactly the headline here.
Not at all.
The headline is Juuse Saros absolutely steals a win. Franchise record for saves in a regular season game with 64 saves last night. The Carolina Hurricanes put 67 shots on net. The Predators put 25 shots on net. For those of you with calculators at home, the Carolina Hurricanes outshot the Predators by 42 shots. Mm-hmm. That is a 42-shot difference, and the Predators won by 2 goals.
It's so funny because, like you said, like the outcome of this game is just such a sidebar to the 60 minutes that our eyes feasted on what in the ever-loving flagnog Juuse Saros can do in net. I mean, this game was just incredible on a number of levels. First of all, Carolina Hurricanes with their 67 shots, that's the most shots in an NHL game this season. I can't imagine that's going to get broken, but I don't know. We might play them again. It's hard to say. I don't know when we're scheduled again.
We might still have one more game on the calendar. That's for sure.
But they were incredible. I mean, you've got to give props to Carolina. You watch this game and you're like, I get why you are the hottest team in the NHL right now and why you are a front runner to be in the Stanley Cup conversation. Carolina Hurricanes are an incredible hockey team.
Yeah. It's no surprise that halfway through the game, the NHL announced Juuse Saros as an NHL All-Star, the Preds representative for the All-Star team. It totally makes sense. I would like to believe that it was somebody else in the NHL was watching the game and just being like, yeah, it's got to be him, right? Like he's the creme de la creme of that Predators team.
He actually found out that morning. So this was just like you say I'm an all-star? Well, hey, now I'm an all-star. Get my game on, go play. And then he just came out with this and it was like, okay.
Yep, all that glittered in that game was gold.
That is a fact, friend.
Stars broke the mold. And that's all of the lyrics I can remember.
Yeah.
More on Saros in just a second. And some other points from this game, because you said something interesting to you when we were kind of talking about this game last night. You were like, I don't necessarily think the Predators played bad.
No.
And I want to get your take on that. But first, like we always do, let's get to some one words to describe the game. Quick recap for you for anybody that missed it. Back and forth the entire game. It was 3-3 at the second period. The Hurricanes would take the lead. The Predators answered back. Filip Forsberg, Mattias Ekholm, and Cody Glass got the goals for the Predators. And then in the third period, Preds took the lead. Mark Jankowski with his 4th goal of the year. First game back in the lineup for a while for him after missing some time. And then we have Colton Sissons icing the game with an empty net goal. Like we said, Carolina Hurricanes just put everything they could on net.
Everything.
They had a last gasp power play opportunity with just about 2 minutes left, and the Predators shut the door on that. Again, Juuse Saros winds up with 64 saves. Anne, what is your one word to describe last night's game?
My one word is internal dialogue. Because as this game was getting ready to start, my internal dialogue was like, oh man, here we go. Because Carolina Hurricanes, this is a great team offensively. This is a pesky team defensively, and they've got great goaltending. And you and I had talked that as much as we hate to say it, this game could come down to goaltending for the Nashville Predators. I think even you and I underestimated quite how much this game would come down to goaltending. But so internal dialogue going into this game. And then as the game unfolded, I began to think about what is Juuse Saros's internal dialogue? And I'm so curious about just the mental component of being a goaltender anyway. But I put myself in his skates. I'm like, okay, what is his internal dialogue? And so in the first period, he faced 18 shots. They got a power play goal in the first period. And I think, in Finnish, he's saying, oh my, that's his first period internal dialogue. The second period comes and Carolina just continues this offensive onslaught from every which way. He faced 21 shots in the second period. And I think he kind of switched into like mental Captain America mode where he's like, I can do this all day. Like gets down, pulls himself up, dusts off, picks up the shield. He's like, I can do this all day. And then the third period rolls around. And y'all, Juuse Saros faced 28 shots in the third period. And his internal dialogue to me shifted into that DJ Khaled where he's making a save and going, and another one, and another one, and another one. And he just is like, okay, I'm just going to win this game for him. And he did. So for me, this whole game has to be about that internal dialogue that Juuse Saros must have in net, because there was some sort of mental gymnastics and feats of strength for him to be able to face 67 shots. 67 shots, y'all.
Yeah.
67 shots.
It's almost like he's like either humming like the Superman theme or like Rocky's Eye of the Tiger.
Yes. Yeah. What do you do after the second intermission to go, well, I know they're going to go out there and throw everything but the kitchen sink and maybe the kitchen sink at me, but I'm just going to not allow them to win this game. I mean, what mental gymnastics on top of just physical gymnastics. It was hands down for me, the greatest goaltending game I have ever seen in my entire life.
Remember all those like saves records the Predators had from the playoffs a few years ago, the ones that Juuse Saros broke all the records and we're like, this is like one of the best goaltending performances of all time.
Yes.
Do you remember who that was against?
Carolina.
That was against Carolina. Yeah.
Carolina.
Something about the Preds and just giving up just a mess of shots to the Carolina Hurricanes too. That series back in the day, everybody talks about, the Preds are just going to get bounced in the first round again. That series was so close and so hard. I think the Predators might have made a playoff run.
If they'd gotten past them. That was an incredible series. Those two teams together, it is never boring.
Yeah, 100%. And my one word, and I'm reaching to the corners of the internet here, is sickos. For anybody who is on Twitter that likes college football, there is an account called the Sickos Committee. And this is, it takes from that old Onion cartoon where it's like a guy wearing a t-shirt that said sickos and he's peering in the window going, yes, yes. And they turned that into a football community where it's basically like football games that are like so bad or so like bizarre that they're actually like really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like their main thing this year was like the Iowa football team, a team with like no offense, like terrible offense, but would somehow get like 2 defensive touchdowns in a game, a couple of turnovers, and would always find their way to a win. And I'm like, the Nashville Predators are playing some sickos hockey right now. Like, they're getting outshot by 42. They're needing their all-star goaltender to go out there and make some record-breaking saves. And they're winning by 2. Like, they won by 2 goals. Like, this wasn't like a 2-1 performance or like the Preds just eked out a game on a fluke goal. I mean, they scored 5 goals.
Yes.
Carolina Hurricanes on, everybody's talking about, Juuse Saros. Obviously, let's not forget Pyotr Kochectkov on the other side has been one of the best goalies in the NHL over the past little bit too. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is something.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point because so many people are going to, I anticipate there's going to be a faction of people who are going to go, oh, great. Here we go again. This team is no good. And Juuse Saros just, is ruining the tank that we have planned for this team. He just shot Connor Bedard right between the eye, grumble about how this game went. But you look at who the Nashville Predators are trying to get shots past, and Kochekov, is that how we say it? I'm going to get it right.
Yeah.
Yes. He is.
Call him Coochie.
Kochekov.
I'm saying the fans call him that, Anne.
I'm not a fan. I'm very happy for him. Great performance. Still not calling him that. But in December, he was the NHL Rookie of the Month, and he allowed 1.6 goals per game. And the Nashville Predators got 4 past him. So obviously this game is 100% about Juuse Saros, but we are still going to need to talk about offensively what the Predators were able to do.
Yeah, I mean, they did something. Let's talk about that. There's more to this game than just Juuse Saros, but we do have more on Juuse Saros.
Oh, heavens, yes.
We have to just talk about that performance last night, maybe how it fits in a long-term picture. And hey, Nashville Predators play hockey again tonight. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to take a moment and talk about today's sponsor. Today's show is sponsored by Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat, but don't want all the fat and calories, you were gearing up for a new year, new you, resolutions, all that good stuff, you gotta try a Built Bar. We just got through the holidays. I know my goal is to eat a little bit healthier this year. And if you're like me, where you want to eat healthy, but you need something that actually tastes good and not bland and chalky, Built Bar is your go-to. Trust me and Ann on this. We're loyal customers. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. They're so delicious, you won't think they're good for you. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Yep. Real chocolate, and they have unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. But don't get it twisted. Don't think it's just pure candy. That's because Built Bars are actually healthy too. They're only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And right now, you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-box bar of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you're close to Sam's Club, run and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, churro. You can thank me later. And as always, you can check out all the flavors they have to offer at Built.com. So head there today and check it out. Take it from us. You'll want to try it. All right, Ann, we are talking the Predators' 5-3 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. And it was a game dominated by Juuse Saros, 64 saves on 67 shots, a Predators franchise record to absolutely steal the win. But you don't win if you don't score, because the Hurricanes did score 3. We talked about the Nashville Predators needing to find a way offensively to get things done. And they did just that. 4 goals past Kochetkov, a.k.a. the guy with the nickname Coochie. I love seeing your reaction to that. And an empty netter by Sissons at the end. So, look, for all the talk about, Juuse Saros stole the game, and he absolutely stole the game.
Yes.
you also have to give credit to the offense, who yet again is coming through with another high-scoring performance. This is what, the fourth one in a row, really like fifth one in the last like 6-7 games that they've been able to absolutely rack up some points on the score sheet.
Yeah, and you look back to the winning streak that the Predators had, I think it was in mid to late November, where they were winning games, but they were winning games 2-1, or they were winning games in overtime, or they were losing games in overtime 1-0, 2-1. All of the sudden, what they've been working on offensively is starting to click. And you're seeing it not just with the big names like Filip Forsberg, although we do need to talk about Filip Forsberg and his numbers because way to go. But you're seeing it up and down the lineup. Last night, you had goals from Mattias Ekholm, Cody Glass, Colton Sissons. That's a name that we really haven't said too much earlier in this season.
Yeah.
And Mark Jankowski coming in. And I will tell you, the Mark Jankowski goal absolutely befuddled us as we were watching this game, because Ryan Johansson took this kind of wide, weird angle shot. And all of a sudden you see the Nashville Predators celebrating. And my husband and I are like, now, I'm not great at hockey, but I know angles, and I don't see how that went in. And, we were so confused. We're like, what are they did they get a penalty call? Like, what are they celebrating? And then you see Mark Jankowski doing the high five line. Great tip-in goal by Jankowski, because otherwise it just didn't make visual sense. So the Nashville Predators are what they've been working on behind the scenes, what they've been working on in practice, what they've been working on in the video room, what they've been working on one-on-one, what they've been working on their own to improve scoring results is paying off. And I think we need to give kudos to the team for that, but still not taking any of the kudos off of Juuse Saros' trade, because he gets all the kudos. Yeah. We'll find extra kudos.
It seems like the Nashville Predators, to me, especially over, this past little stretch run, I would even say dating back to like that Edmonton game, even though there's been a couple of lower scoring performances since then. Really, to me, what they've done is they've simplified their game a little bit. It's not, we're going into the zone and trying to set up. They're going into the zone and immediately just crashing the net.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of 3-on-3 opportunities. If there's nothing there, you might stop. You might try to wait for a trailer, dump it in, try to get like a cycle going or something like that. We've seen, 3-on-3 chances, just standard 3-on-3 chances where the puck carrier, makes a pass and just, somebody just rushes towards the net.
Yes.
They just put the puck on net, rush in, try to get rebounds, tips, whatever. And it seems like the Predators are doing more of that. And it seems like, instead of always, trying to set up that perfect shot in the slot or perfect opportunity, they have done a better job of doing that as well. It seems like they've prioritized just getting people into high danger areas, not necessarily, high danger shots or what have you, but getting people into dangerous areas and letting them kind of clean things up. You saw that with the Mark Jankowski goal. You saw that with the Cody Glass goal as well.
Yes.
It was a rebound, and Cody Glass was right in front of the net with nobody in front of him. And it looked like he was just it was like curling. Like he was just like sweeping. He could just sweep the puck in if he wanted to. Like it was such a nonchalant goal for Cody Glass, who was playing some of the best hockey of his life right now. And that, to me, it's they're keeping it simple. It's not necessarily, they're waiting for high danger chances to develop. They're waiting and getting people in there and then loading up a shot. They're just putting people in dangerous areas. And it's like, all right, if there's a deflection, if there's a rebound, and hey, if for some reason the defense breaks down and this person finds himself with the puck via pass, via tip-in, whatever, he's going to close the door. And that's what the Nashville Predators did last night. Look, they only got 25 shots on goal, which, doesn't sound like a lot when you're putting it right next to 67 shots on goal. But
not good.
But the quality of chances the Predators got
Mm-hmm.
in those 25 shots, that was pretty good. And it feels like that fact is going to be overshadowed by the defense giving up 67 shots. Most of them high danger chances.
Yes. And we do need to talk about that defensively, but I do want to really second what you're saying about putting people in high danger areas, because John Hines talks about kind of that net front area being like, that's where you want to be. That's zone 1. You want to get there. And I think for so long, the Predators focused on getting the puck there. And when you put people there and then the puck, it just is paying off better. And you saw it in the last home game that they had against Montreal, where you saw Tommy Novak heading into that area. You saw Roman Josi heading into that area and scoring goals off of that. Last night, you saw Cody Glass getting into that area, Mark Jankowski getting into that area. And so I think you're seeing the Predators are doing some things a little bit differently, and they are paying off, which is great. Fantastic. We probably do need to talk a little bit about like the defensive situation.
You're probably right. Yep.
Look, here's what I will say about this. When you allow a team to put 67 shots at your goaltender, you're going to need to take a little bit of time and reflect on the meaning of life.
Yeah.
But I will also say it was not necessarily an absolute dumpster fire defensively either. Honestly, I said absolute dumpster fire. I said absolute dumpster fire. And here's the
point. Yeah.
The one area that bothers me the most, and this is something that is going to get the Nashville Predators one way or the other, and we've seen this get the Nashville Predators, and we've seen them lose games because of this, is getting the puck out of the zone. Mm-hmm. Last night was another night where they struggled with getting the puck out of the zone. Now, let me say this. Carolina Hurricanes are the most unrelenting team I've seen yet this season in the NHL. They are like a baby with colic. You will get no breaks. Like, it is unrelenting. And that's how they play this game. But we've noticed with other teams in Nashville getting the puck out of the zone and away from the front of Juuse Saros, they have got to get better about doing that, because what we ended up seeing last night was just these huge periods of extended zone time in front of Saros, where, Carolina's getting off 6, 7, 8 shots in this huge chunk of extended zone time for Carolina. And you can't put your goaltender in that situation. They have got to be able to clear the puck. Now, there are some other things that they need to work on defensively as well. But for me, you would eliminate some of the pressure that Juuse Saros was under if the Predators had been able to clear the puck and get it through the neutral zone. Even if they weren't able to set up a lot of time, in the offensive zone, you have got to get better about protecting the puck in transition. They just have to get a little bit better about that, or a lot better. I mean,
if they can get about 42 shots better defensively and trying
I'm just saying
out of the zone, it might be a little bit better. It might be a little bit better, Ann.
A little bit better. Yeah. Yeah. Well, coming up, I know it's hard to transition away from Juuse Saros for president talk, because that's what this, the cry of our hearts is after last night's game. But we do have to look ahead, because Nashville right back on the ice tonight, and it is against Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. We're going to talk about that game coming up in just a second. Won't that be fun, friends?
Yeah.
But first, we want to thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen every day. We just wrapped up the World Juniors, and if you want to know some more about some of these names that have been floating around, you need to go and check out Locked On NHL Prospects. It is a daily podcast covering the next generation of hockey superstars leading up to the NHL draft, which, just in case we forgot to mention it, will be here in Nashville. They will have NHL draft rankings and top prospect comparisons for every team. So go and check out Locked On NHL Prospects. It is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Ann. So the defense after last night put up a little bit of a very good, or they had themselves a night.
They had a night.
67 shots allowed on net. They had the Washington Capitals tonight.
So that sounds fun.
Another team that makes you think, okay, I don't think the defense are going to get a lot of breaks here in this game.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the prediction for this game is. I don't even know if I really want to make a prediction. I'm just going to say that based on how the Capitals are playing right now, it's probably going to be another performance where you gotta tighten things up in the defensive zone. You gotta get pucks out. You gotta take your opportunities to clear the zone when you can, whether that's just chipping the puck out or zone exit, take the puck out. Or you're going to have to turn to Kevin Lankinen, point to Juuse Saros, and say, all right, man, let's see if you can one-up that.
Dear heavens.
Let's see if you can break a franchise record.
Come on, 68. You got this, Kevin Lankinen.
You got this, Kev.
Don't even put that out there. Oh, my goodness.
I don't know emotionally if I can handle like 2 performances like that back-to-back.
I cannot. I told you this before we recorded, and it's embarrassing, but I'm going to share it anyway. I literally had trouble sleeping last night after that Predators game because I was so the game was just high intensity anyway, like shots aside, Juuse Saros aside, a Carolina Hurricanes Nashville Predators game, high intensity. I had trouble sleeping. I'm going to need a little bit less of that tonight against Washington, and it is going to take the defense performing better to help me get a better night's sleep. The other thing that I'm going to say is penalties. Don't commit them.
Yeah.
Don't commit them. Alex Ovechkin, I mean, literally, it's the stuff of nightmares. Alex Ovechkin in the circle, one-timer. You just really can't put him in that situation. You need all the defenders you can get against somebody like Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, and Alex Ovechkin appears poised to try to break Wayne Gretzky's goal scoring record this season because he's been on an absolute tear. 29 goals this season. That puts him in the top 4 in the NHL. And
incredible.
If you do the math, 7 goals in his last 4 games. That includes a goal last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So this guy is just absolutely tearing up the game, doing something once in a lifetime.
Yes.
Something I don't know if we'll ever see again in our generation of following hockey. And maybe Connor McDavid on that same level someday, never know, depending on if he can get his goal scoring up, for him just on points. But I mean, it's crazy to see Ovechkin, and it's crazy to see him in person because he's such a unique player, such a special player.
Yes.
Like, you talk about the circle, like, him being outside that circle on the power play. It's the stuff of nightmares because every single person knew before the game, during the game, every person in the stands, every person in the scouting department, every person on the ice knows the Washington Capitals are going to try to make that play.
Yes.
They sell out to defend it, and Ovechkin still is near automatic from that point every single time. It is incredible how a team can absolutely do everything they can to take
everything
away. Everything
overload it.
They know it's coming. They put like 3 defenders. They have defenders cheat there, and Ovechkin can still score and make it so easy. And it's just I've never seen any sort of situation like that where it's just when he gets there and gets the puck, it's like there's a goal coming within the next 30 seconds.
Yes. Now, the one thing that I will say that makes me feel perhaps a little bit better about this is a back-to-back for Washington as well. And last night, Darcy Kuemper was in net against the Blue Jackets. Darcy Kuemper is a thorn in the side of the Nashville Predators ever since that bubble where he was with Arizona and we had that play-in round and Darcy freaking Kuemper just robbed the Predators. So I think probably the Predators are going to see Charlie Lindgren in net tonight, which just for me mentally feels a little bit better, but you never know. I don't believe he faced 67 shots, so maybe he will play in the back-to-back.
Yeah.
But I really feel confident we're going to see Kevin Lankinen in net tonight for the Nashville Predators. Look, if this team did not carry Juuse Saros and his luggage onto that airplane last night to fly to Washington, and if Juuse Saros fell asleep on that airplane, they needed to pay the pilot extra, leave that plane on the tarmac with the air conditioning set at a refreshing 68 degrees, and paid extra to let Saros continue to nap until he was good and done resting up.
Yeah. I feel like he needed like a big old chocolate sundae on his seat in the plane when he came back.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume you're not going to see any changes for the Preds tonight, and maybe if there is, it's putting Dante Fabro back in the lineup. But I don't know, something about Fabro is just like I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, and you hate to speculate on anything like that, but maybe a little bit in Heinz's doghouse right now. We saw him have a very short leash in that Colorado game, was pulled after a very bad mistake. You saw his ice time kind of dip the past few games before McCown came up, and the Preds have made him a healthy scratch now for 2 games in a row. Something maybe a little bit more going on there, or do you think maybe Heinz gives him a chance after a 67 shot allowed performance from your defense, and maybe say, you know what, for whatever rough play he's had, Dante Fabro is a solid defensive defenseman, and we need him here?
I would not be surprised to see him back in the lineup. I think Roland McKeown has done a really good job. He is very much a you know exactly what you're getting with him. He's a straight defenseman. There's not a lot of, three dimensions to his game, and played fine last night. But I do think at this point, after a defensive game like there was, I would not be surprised to see Fabro get a chance back in the lineup. There is a part of me that wonders, and we've talked about, it's the trade rumor time and Mattias Ekholm is the big name. People are talking about Ryan McDonough. I'm wondering if Dante Fabro, if there's something there. So just something to keep an eye on. But I would not be surprised to see Fabro back in the lineup tonight.
I mean, but even if you're working on a trade, it's you're looking ahead at the deadline. And we talked about it yesterday. David Poile is not going to make moves at the deadline if he thinks the Preds are still in it. So,
what did last night's game do to that?
Yeah. Well, they got 2 points, right?
They got 2 points.
Got 2 points, and that's the bottom line. When it comes playoff time, nobody asks how you've done it. They just kind of ask where you are.
Right. If the Predators can get 2 points tonight against Washington after 2 points against Carolina, do you think that does anything to move the needle among the fan base?
Well, let's say this. If the Predators win tonight, they're ahead of Colorado in the standings. So does that change your perspective? Looking at the standings and seeing who the Predators are there with?
I mean, here's the thing about Colorado, though. They're playing with, my great aunt on their team because they're so battered.
Yeah. But the Nashville
Cody
Predators
Glass.
have also been really bad this season to start.
You are not wrong.
Yeah,
You
so
are
it's
not
like,
wrong.
hey, Colorado's struggling, Nashville's struggling. Now, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it and say the Predators are on the same level as the Avalanche, but what I am trying to say is, hey, you know what?
They're getting it done.
We're both struggling too. And if the Predators can trend a little bit upward, they have they have some opportunities. Let's say that. And to your point, Ann, if they beat Washington tonight and get 2 points, I think that does at least make the other option of what happens towards the end of this year more vocal.
Yeah. Who's your player to watch tonight?
Player to watch tonight?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Kevin Lankinen, right?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Kevin Lankinen. As we said, it seems like Washington, another team that's going to have maybe not 67 shots, but they're going to put whatever they can on net, and Lankinen's going to have to come up with another big performance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Who do you have?
For me, I'm keeping my eyes on the line of Glass, Niederreiter, and Granlund, not just offensively, but because that's the line that's going up against top lines. So let's see what they're able to do when it comes to containing, Washington's top scorers.
Yeah. We'll see what happens tonight. It is a game at Washington, another 6 o'clock puck drop, 6 o'clock Central. And we will recap some of that for you next week, depending on what happens. And in the meantime, where can people find your work?
You can find my work online at InsideThePreds.com, and you can find me on Twitter at AnnK_Mama on Ice.
Just gearing up for a dramatic Twitter reveal there.
No, just a tickle.
You can find me at ontheforecheck.com. Follow me on Twitter at _NSMorgan. Be sure to follow the podcast on Twitter as well, LO_Predators. And no matter where you're watching this, whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcasting platform like Apple or Spotify, make sure you hit subscribe so you'll always know when we have fresh content out for you. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new episode. We'll see you then.